this video, I'm going to give you the difference between how beginners practice and how professionals practice. If you never get to the professional level and keep practicing like a beginner, and most people do, then you can never get into the professional realm of playing and performing music. It simply isn't possible. So listen up now. Beginners, what do? Right? We start practicing songs, right? Or little classical pieces. I did both with my teacher when I was 10 years old. He showed me some chords and we could play some songs, right? And some strumming patterns. And then he showed me some classical pieces and he told me how to do it, right? And I had to practice and come back the next time. That was it. Most people keep practicing like that. We practice songs, we practice some kind of music, and then we start soloing. And the first thing we learn is the first position minor pentatonic or the first position blues scale shape, right? And then what do we do with that? We practice licks. Of course we do, because that's like practicing songs, pre-composed little thing, right? That we can practice over and over again. Then we put on some music and we try to apply those licks to the music. Then from that point on, we struggle. Because what we basically try to do is to get to the final level of being that guy or girl, woman, right, who can stand on stage and just play freely, bam, right, with confidence and, just speak music through your fingers, through your instrument. That's what we want, right? But we never get to that place because we keep practicing like a beginner, which is practicing licks or practicing songs, practicing riffs. And through that, we learn the skills, the sub-skills of anything, right? We learn a strumming pattern, but what we're really learning when we're learning strumming patterns is rhythm, first of all, right? And then we learn to move our hand. Maybe we learn muting as well as we do the strumming pattern. And we learn some fretting, some power chords, and we learn different things. So basically what we do is that we have all these sub-skills of rhythm guitar when we're trying to learn a riff, and then we try to learn them all at once. Simply because when you're a beginner, you need your cookie often, right? It's the baby level. And in order for you to be motivated, you need to be able to play something that sounds like music. It doesn't have to sound perfect. It just has to sound like, okay, right? It just has to sound a little bit like the thing we love, right? And that needs to be often. You can't practice for 3 months, practice a song for 3 months and then get rewarded after 3 months. Doesn't happen because you lose heart before you reach the 3 months, right? That's the beginner psychology. When it comes to the professional way of practicing, then you say, okay. I know all these songs, right? I got some strumming patterns down, right? But then we start to separate and say, and I got my first position, I got some licks down. That was fun. That's fun, right? We're started now. We broke through the wall. Now professionals say, okay, what are the sub-skills of rhythm guitar? Well, rhythm, right? That's what I've been practicing, rhythm guitar. Yeah, but we need to practice rhythm. We need to be able to go ba da da ba da da ba da da ba da 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 ba 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 boo ba ba dee da do ba 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 boo bo ba ba, right? We need to freely be able to sing scat, any rhythm of our choosing, and be totally free in that, right? Like a drummer, any rhythm we hear, we should be able to replicate with our mouth, with our hands. That is rhythm skills, and every musician must have those if they're professionals, right? But then we need to apply those rhythm skills to our instrument and need to be right? And need to be able to solo with them, to play rhythm guitar with them, right? That's a sub-skill. And then we need picking skills to make that happen, don't we? Or hammer-ons and pull-off skills, or muting skills, right? So we take all of these sub-skills and we practice them individually. Now you're practicing like a pro, right? Now all you focus on, and the reason why you can't become really good with the beginner level kind of practicing where you're practicing songs is because you're practicing more than one thing at a time, which is a disaster when it comes to reaching the professional level, right? Because the brain needs focus. In order to learn, you need to focus on one thing. Because once you focus on that thing, you have that evaluation feedback loop where, hey, I'm playing something. Did that sound right? Yes, it did. Okay, do more of that. Or speed it up a little bit. No, it didn't sound right. Okay, let me change that a little bit. It's a feedback loop, new action. Feedback loop, new action. Feedback loop, new action. If you have 4 things that's going on at the same time, you got the strumming, the muting, right? The actual mechanics of doing the thing. Then you got the rhythm skill. Then you got the chord or whatever you're playing over here. And then you got the whatever, right? And you need to focus on all of them. So the evaluation process of, did I do it right? Well, I don't know, because I was focusing over here as I was making mistakes with the muting. And then I was focused on the muting, and then I couldn't focus on the strumming. So I'm learning dipshit. I'm sorry, I'm never swearing in these videos, but it is a catastrophe. And you will never get to the next level if you practice like that, right? Then we move on. Then we go to YouTube. Then we see these experts saying, you need a practice routine, right? Like going to the gym, you need to practice this, you need to practice that, you need to practice this, then you go and do this, and do that, and do that, and then you go home, right? 7 different exercises, right? You do the same with guitar. You practice this, a little bit of strumming, a little bit of chords, a little bit of scales, a little bit of music theory, a little bit of fretting, hammer-ons and pull-ups. That was it. Then I have, I had time off and I can leave, right? Disastrous, right? Because you go from one to the other, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. So the brain doesn't know what to process afterwards, right? You gave it 1,000,000 things, or 10 things, or 5 things. Practicing like a professional means focus when you practice on a sub-skill of whatever you're trying to do. And that means even when you're practicing alternate picking or hammer-ons and pull-offs, you focus on the hammer-ons, or you focus on the pull-offs, or you focus on only, right, the hammer-ons, right? And then afterwards, right? One thing you focus on, and you have a project, you're working on that all week. I'm trying to get this up to speed. I'm trying to whatever, right? And that's where you get results, because suddenly, not only in the little practice thing you do, can you say, okay, how does the, right? Or you're practicing the string shift. Right? That's what you're focusing on. But also when you then go, from your practice session, you start sleeping or whatever, the brain kind of, digests all the repetitions you gave it, whether it be rhythm or picking, whatever it is, or, music theory. Now it has a focus. Now it can get somewhere. Now it can get results. But those results might be, in 3 months. You might be working on something where you really get your reward in 3 months. Put on a jam track, try off your new skills, whatever it be, scales, horizontal, picking skills, whatever it is, right? And then you can hear, oh, that sounds amazing. Thank you. Thank you myself for focusing so I could get a real skill. Instead of nudging and you're not even taking steps when you're practicing like a beginner, right? When you're trying to, get the big skills, right? You're just nudging like this, right? And a year goes by and you say, okay, I made progress. I made 2% progress. Practice routine, do this, then that, and this, and that. And after 5 years, you go, okay, if I develop at this rate for the next 150 years, then I might have intermediate soloing skills, right? We need to be focused on one thing so we can have the evaluation process running as we practice. One thing only, muting, whatever it is, right? And then we need to have a project, a focus where we develop some sub-skills over time. Beginners can't do that. If I told a beginner student, hey, never touched the guitar before. Yeah, see, before we can play that song, you're first going to learn strumming. And that's, at a professional level. I don't want to hear you go, duh, right? I want to hear something that really is up there, right? So let's practice strumming for 4 months, right? Or 3 months. Just one strumming pattern. You're just going to go, right? And you're going to do that every single day for a month. And then we can develop it a little bit there, right? That will be a disaster. Because the beginner would say, I'm not going to play guitar. This sounds like awful, right? Instead, we're going to practice a song until I can play it poorly. That's what we do when we're beginners. We're going to, I was in the cries and coming down the ride. And then we go on to another song when we learn it at that level. I'm not making fun of everybody. I'm making fun of myself as well, right? But so I hope this ranting and raving has put something in there of being a professional, taking one sub-skill of one sub-skill and then focusing on it for an extended period of time, like 4 weeks, 8 weeks, for as long as you can. And in your practice, you just get that feedback loop running. You get better and better. And then you piece all those great little skills together. And then suddenly you have mastery skills. You are a professional now. Now you're a musician. Instead of being like this guy who can kind of do something on a guitar. Hope that makes sense. So don't forget to subscribe if you like this lesson. Like and do comment. Please let me know about your own experiences in this area. Whether you feel like, okay, this makes sense and I need to do something about it, or whether you think it makes no sense, right? Let me hear about, are you a beginner, are you an intermediate, or do you consider yourself advanced in some ways of guitar practicing? We can always get much further than we are now, myself and others included, right? But where are you and how does this make sense? I'm reading every single comment, so please enlighten me. And then I hope to see you in one of the videos that pop up here in a second, or in the next video here on YouTube.